Hey everyone, my name is Chloe and today I'm here to do my July wrap up. So I'm in a weird spot because me and the girls are still at my parents' house and this is their office. And Jeremy is at our new house doing a couple new things. So this is a little late, a little atypical, not how you normally see me, but we're getting there, you guys. We are getting there. So I'm just going to go ahead and give you the stats first and then the books. And if you have not seen one of my wrap-ups before, I go through a bunch of stats and then I will go through the books that I read them in the order that I read them. And I'll really just give you my star rating because I vlog constantly. So if you want any more of my thoughts, I will link the vlog down below. And let's just get into it. So in the month of July, I read 23 books and the average length was 328 pages. And that was like a page different than my June. So I just think that's interesting. I'm picking up books that are about 328 pages, which I do feel like is the sweet spot. Somewhere between 3 and 350. I love that. So I feel good about that. I read 7,551 pages, which averages to 244 pages a day. And you guys, audiobooks. I am not sitting and reading 244 pages a day. That's for darn sure. So audiobooks, especially during moving and packing and all of that, audiobooks saved me. I read 22 novels and 1 novella. I had 1 2-star, 2 2.5 stars, 3 3 stars, 8 3.5 stars, 7 4 stars, and 2 4.5 stars. And it averages to 3.52, which is, again, is almost the same as like every other month. So if nothing else, I'm consistent, I guess. I read 14 off my shelf and 9 from somewhere else. 2 of those came from Hoopla because, like I said, almost all were audio or ebook this month. I don't think there were any physical books. So 2 Hoopla, 8 Libby, and the Libby's that I was using was the Brooklyn Public Library. So if you haven't seen my video about that, I will link it up above and down below, talking about how you can get a library card to the Brooklyn Public Library, and they have so much. So clearly I was using that a lot this month. 2 from Libro FM and 10 from NetGalley. So as far as publication year goes, I had 1 from 2010 to 2014, 4 from 2015 to 2019, 2 from 2020, and 16 from 2021. So this was the month of new releases and the month of catching up on NetGalley. So that's 16 new release and 7 backlist, which is way different than normal. Normally I'm about 50-50, but this was the month. I read 7 thrillers, 7 romances, 5 women's fiction, 3 contemporary, and 1 nonfiction. So again, I would say that's pretty ideal for me. That line between women's fiction and romance is kind of gray, as we've talked about in multiple places. But I would always say thrillers and romance/women's fiction are my favorite. So no shocker that those are right up there. I had 2 male authors and 21 female authors. And I completed my whole TBR, which is crazy. And did no readathons, I don't think. So that was the month of July. For the Unread Shelf project, I did, it was a book you bought for the cover, and I did In a Book Club Far Away by Tiff Marcello, just because this cover reminds me of my grandmother, and I love it. The next one is the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge, and that one is a title that starts with the first letter of your first name, and so I did The Chain by Adrienne McKenty. So fulfilled those. I feel really good about my progress on those. I wondered at the beginning of the year, am I going to like having a year-long project? And so far, so good. I mean, it helps that it's only 1 book each, but I really like it. So let's just get into the books. Like I said, I'm not going to spend too much time because I've talked about these in extents. So I will link that down below and let's just go. So the first one was Where It All Lands, and that one's by Jenny Wexler, and I gave that 4.5 stars. I really liked it. The Star-Crossed Sisters of Tuscany by Lori Nelson Spielman, I think, and that one was 4 stars. Then There You'll Find Me by Jenny B. Jones. Did not like that one. 10 out of 10 would not recommend. I gave it 2 stars. If you've seen the movie that was made based off of that, let me know if it's better. Then Yoga Pant Nation, which is number 3 in Lori Gilman's Class Mom series, and I think they're funny. I like it. I gave it 4 stars. Then I read The Therapist by B.A. Paris, and I gave it 3.5 stars. I was a little underwhelmed as a fan of B.A. Paris, but it wasn't her best for me. Then People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. Loved it. 4.5 stars. I would say that is my favorite of the month. Where It All Lands is a YA, so those two are right up there. The Other Misses by Mary Kubica, I gave 4 stars. Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, I gave 3.5. Ever After Always by Chloe Leese, and this is the third in her Bergman Brothers series, and I gave that 3.5. Then Try Softer, which is a book, it's a nonfiction book all about like giving yourself grace. Instead of being harder on yourself, try being softer with yourself. And that's by Andy Kolber, I think. And I gave that 4 stars. Next was The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave, and I gave that 3.5 stars. Second Chance at Sunflower Ranch by Carolyn Brown, gave that 3.5 stars. The Chain by Adrienne McKenty, and I gave that 4 stars. Small Town Charm, also by Carolyn Brown, I gave 3 stars. Falling by TJ Newman, I gave 4 stars. And you guys, if you don't have flight anxiety, read this and you will immediately. And if you do have flight anxiety and you have a flight coming up anytime soon, don't read Falling by TJ Newman because it is stressful, but it is so good. Next was Only for You by Barb Curtis, and I gave that 3 stars. The Anatomical Shape of a Heart by Jen Bennett, I gave 3.5. In a Book Club Far Away by Tiff Marcello, I gave 3.5. The second season, and I'm blanking on who this is by, but I will have a picture up. 2.5 stars. Didn't really like that. You can see why it didn't really stick. Delia Suits Up by Amanda Axel, and I gave that 4 stars. That one is like a Freaky Friday gender swap, and I loved it. Next is The Whisper Man by Alex North, 2.5 stars, maybe even 2 stars. Didn't like it. One Night Only by Catherine Welsh, I think, 3.5 stars. And The Husbands by Chandler Baker, 3 stars. And I think that may be the end of Chandler Baker for me. So that was my month of July. Let me know, how was your month? I was really happy with it that I read more in July than I did in June. And like I said, I completely credit that to audiobooks while packing. So we'll see how August shakes out. But how was your July? Let me know the best thing you read, and we'll talk to you in the next one.